Hello everyone, welcome to the Galactic Guide, a place to discuss the ever-expanding Star Wars universe. In today's video, we will be discussing the inhibitor chips and its background and its effects on the Star Wars universe. There are about 4 episodes directly dedicated to the discovery of these inhibitor chips in the Clone Wars series, and if you have not seen these episodes, that's fine. There might be some spoilers ahead. If you want to watch them before you listen to this, go for it. For most Star Wars fans who have followed the Clone Wars series and the movies, have somewhat an idea and concept of what these inhibitor chips are. But for those who have just recently started getting into Star Wars and just started watching The Bad Batch, you might be a little lost and confused what these inhibitor chips are. So what exactly are these chips? In short, they are organic, programmed computer chips. They have the same purpose of having a droid programmed. It makes the host compliant to whatever order they're given. These chips are put in place around the beginning stages of development, such as like the embryo stage, or as they claim, the stage 3 of development. The clones just grow up with these chips, not even knowing they're implanted into them. These chips wouldn't have been discovered if it wasn't for CT-5385, Clone Trooper Tup, in the 501st. In one of the battles, he had a reaction to something. It's never clearly defined what causes his malfunction in his inhibitor chip, but he goes pretty much rogue and ends up murdering Jedi Master Tiplar in front of everybody. Now, this sparks a whole investigation. This leads to Fives escorting him back to Camino, where they run a ton of tests, believing it to be a separatist plot and seeing what caused it. But the Kaminoans were assuring that this was isolated, that this was not anything they needed to worry about. But in reality, the Kaminoans had an idea what it was. Now, this led to Fives not being satisfied with the answer that the Kaminoans were giving everyone, including the Jedi. He had a feeling that they were hiding something. So he ended up doing a subatomic brain scan. Now, with the scan that Fives had completed, he discovered that Tup had a tumor, only to realize this tumor was just the chip when he removed it. After removing this chip, he decided to see if he had it, and removed it himself. And that, in turn, led him to accuse the Kaminoans for altering the clones, for claiming that they had a master plan behind these chips. But the Kaminoans, in a panic, tried to divert all of this accusations to those chips being in place to help make them follow orders and not go rogue. But Fives did not believe anything they were saying. Sadly, in the end, Fives was discounted for he was framed and for an attempt on the Chancellor's life, and no one believed his accusations, even though they were all true, that these chips were put in place to eliminate the Jedi and make the clones compliant in the Sith's plan. The plan of Order 66 was put in place at the beginning of the Clone Wars, when they had originally installed the chips from day one with the clones. But when Order 66 was given, many of the clones who heard the order, emphasis on the heard, their chips activated and completely changed who they were. All their individuality disappeared. They turned into the one thing they were fighting almost like droids, that they were battling, blindly following orders. And with that order from Darth Sidious, the Order of 66, they turned on their Jedi Masters and eliminated them without hesitation. A few clones were affected or had some sense of resistance to him, such as Captain Rex. The Bad Batch also had very few symptoms to reacting to hearing the order. Although, caveat from that, Crosshair and Wrecker did have some effects from Order 66, so they were not completely immune from the powers of the chip itself. Now, there were many effects on the clones when the activation of these chips occurred. They're not, a lot of them are not directly emphasized on in the shows, but they do mention them, such as the clones would have nightmares, and they would, once their chips would activate or malfunction, they would have that mantra of good soldiers follow orders. And as they resisted it, they would have headaches, they would uncontrollable pain in their head, and all the individuality that the Jedi saw in the clones vanished the moment that order came through to them, and they all turned on their friends and eliminated them. Now, the story of these chips may be starting to come to an end with the way that the Bad Batch has been going. They've kind of slowly started to make their way out of the realm of the Clone Wars and more towards the development of the Empire and its new soldiers, which are recruits who won't have to rely on a chip to be told what to do and how to follow orders strictly and by the book. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and feel free to subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one.